Good job.
Speaking of Instagram, I tweeted, what was it, 2-3 days ago, that this is just another random shower thought tweet that turns into a conversation.
Yep.
The year is 2022, and there is no iPad Instagram app. If you open the Instagram app on an iPad, it looks hilarious. It's just a scaled iPhone app, and you hit the 2x button and it blows up an iPhone on an iPad, which is like, I don't know, there's a lot of pretty good iPad apps. Instagram doesn't make one. A couple hours after that, Adam Mosseri, love him, actually answered my tweeted back at me, said, yep, we get this one a lot, which, Adam, I know. I'm sure he's tired of answering this all the time. But he actually sort of explained a little bit. He said, it's just not a big enough group of people to be a priority, hoping to get it at some point, but right now we're very heads down on other things. And I was kind of curious about that, so I replied. I mean, I'm not an executive at a tech company for a reason.
We obviously, he knows Instagram better than us. I think it's safe to say that.
I would say he's the most qualified person to answer this.
Yeah.
But I sort of poked back like, well, if you made a great Instagram app for iPad, wouldn't a lot of people start using it? Like, nobody uses it now because it's terrible. It's awful. So if you made one, they will come. His response was really interesting. So, number one, each Surface adds overhead. We support iOS, Android, the web, and IG Lite, and Android is the largest of those. All true.
Yeah, but you're also Facebook, so I don't have
We'll get to that.
Okay,
we'll get to that. Yeah. So, two, he says TikTok and YouTube are behemoths. People share more in messages than they do to stories or feeds, so we need to adapt. People share more in messages than they do to stories.
I think what he's saying is that people are using the private messaging tool in Instagram rather than the sharing tool, but they don't make any money off of private messaging. He wants to get more people sharing things. So I guess that's what they're working on rather than, that's how I took that at least.
And three, we are leaner than you think. So yeah, I get it. So first of all, yes, they make an Android version. I don't think there's a well-optimized Android tablet Instagram app either. Not asking for one, just saying there isn't one. And on the web, Instagram works fine. You can now upload from the web now, which is really cool. Those surfaces gain more and more features every day. But I still don't understand not adding, I think it would be pretty easy to make a decent Instagram iPad app.
I think that's a fair thought. And I know we are not developers.
I'm not a developer.
Full disclosure, if you haven't heard the dumb stuff we've talked about developing apps before. But I can't imagine, compared to the other things that they're making, they made IGTV. That was its own app. Did that have an iPad app actually?
Not a specific app. It had its separate app, but
would have made way more sense in iPad as content, a way to consume content rather than a way to So the number two here sticks out to me a lot because they're specifically saying they want more people sharing things and consuming content rather than just direct messages. Whereas a phone seems like the immediate space I would go to if I were messaging somebody, and an iPad. To me, when I'm on that, I'm only there to consume content.
I think that's good perspective. I think a lot of fellow creators were looking at I like using the iPad as my only computer. And if I could have a full-fledged Instagram experience on the iPad, that would make it a dramatically more useful computer to me. Yeah. Because right now, the Instagram, like I said, the Instagram iPad app is just the iPhone app blown up and pixelated. Yeah. I think his number 3 point sticks out to me the most. We're leaner than you think. Because, Facebook owns Instagram. We know this. Yeah. They're separately organized and managed, of course, but I don't think the
money's there.
The money, exactly. If I was Facebook, if I was if I was running Instagram and I said, hey, can we grab a quick billion and a couple developers because we're going to make an Instagram app? I don't think Facebook would go, no, we don't want that. Here's the thing, though. A lot of people were tweeting at me. The iPad also doesn't have a calendar. It does have a calendar. It also doesn't have a calculator. And I asked Apple about this. I was like, hey, Craig, why is there no... I don't think he was expecting me to answer this. But I said, why is there no calculator app on the iPad?
There's some things that we have not done because to do it, we would want to do something really distinctly great in that space. And I think it's obviously easy to create a calculator app, but creating one that feels like, wow, this is the greatest iPad calculator app that it felt like. I think we want to do it when we can do it really, really well. And we honestly have just haven't gotten around to doing it great. So that day may come, but.
And to me, they're saying like, we haven't quite thought of or made the best one yet. So we just haven't made one. And in my head, I went, you're Apple.
Yeah.
You have
it's a calculator.
Infinite resources to make a solid calculator app. And you haven't done it.
I don't like that.
Is Apple leaner than we think? I don't know. I think they just don't want to make a calculator app. They could obviously spin one up if they wanted to, but they have such high standards that for some reason, none of their possible versions
calculators
fit.
just aren't cool enough.
Calculators aren't cutting it. And I kind of see this answer from Adam along the same lines. Like, okay, we're leaner than you think, fine. But if you wanted to make a solid Instagram app, I think you could.
I think they could.
I think they could make a 2-column, like creator-focused, tab on one hand, and then obviously a big full-screen, high-resolution feed on the other. I think you could see full-screen vertical videos, and it would be no problem. I think they could build an Instagram app, no problem. But I think it wouldn't be amazing. And they want it to be amazing, and so they just didn't do it at all. Now they're doing other things. I
think you're giving them a lot of credit.
I'm trying to.
No,
I'm like devil's
optimism.
advocate. Like I just want them to just make it. Obviously, but
I just think there's so many people whose livelihoods are based on social media posting. I mean, Instagram is one of those things where if you're an influencer on there, you can build an entire job out of that, right? Like posting and everything to it, and having to do all of that like through your phone. You still can't upload photos on desktop, right?
No, you can.
You can.
You can now.
They finally.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like analytics aren't that great, and like scrolling through shorts or reels isn't that great. You're just sort of in your feed.
And like imagine all the people who are traveling. There are so many traveling Instagram influencers that would much rather carry an iPad that they could do the majority of their work on rather than just a small phone. I know that's still, and that is going towards what he says, that like the group isn't large enough for this, but I do think there's a lot of people who consume media as well on top of that, and it just seems like a win-win for both parties that are using Instagram.
Yeah. As far as surfaces that add overhead, Android being the biggest one, totally get that. And they have to optimize all kinds of different versions for different resolutions in Android phones. And that's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And then every feature that they add to Instagram, they also have to optimize for every version for all these different Android versions. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. But the iPad is the most popular tablet in the world, and it's only one version. You make one iPad app, and it works with all of the iPads. I think that would be easier.
Yeah.
I think that would be easier than the Android challenge. I don't know. Adam, come on the podcast, man. I think here's your formal invitation. I think you'd come on the podcast.
I think you would come on. Yeah.
Just to talk. Obviously, I don't want to grill you on the one question you've answered 1,000 times.
If we sound really nice, we definitely are. We actually are, but
yeah. No, I think that would be fun because there's all kinds of creator questions. He's actually, by the way, he's one of the most transparent.
I have to give him a lot of credit for that.
Executives of any social media platform. I've talked to a couple of them. I've talked to Mark Zuckerberg in a video. I've talked to a bunch of social media people, the Satya Nadellas of the world, even Sundar Pichai at Google. Mm-hmm. Adam on Twitter, ironically, all the time posts new updates about things that they're working on, that they are planning on adding, and that they are prioritizing at Instagram. If you're a creator and you don't follow Adam on Twitter, you're missing out on a lot of good information about how they look at Instagram and how they run things and how they actually think about things. So I'm, of course, poking him on like the one thing that I can't believe they haven't done yet. But there's a lot of good stuff.
I appreciate the transparency, and it's not easy to be transparent on social media where then a bunch of people like us can, because like he answered you, there were like 40 articles out that day about how iPad's never getting an Instagram app. So like just a quick little response like that, and then it just kind of blows up in your face, kind of. So sorry if that ruined your day.
No, I think it's useful information. Yeah, useful information. Appreciate that. Anyway, what else we're going to talk about? Oh, there's another We have one more thing that they announced on Instagram, which is just like, oh, what are Instagram's priorities? And then they added 3D avatars to stories and DMs.
Yeah, because it's a key building block for the future of personal identity in the metaverse. So, as us, listen, we know Facebook is now Meta or whatever. I refuse to call it that. And the metaverse is a priority over there. But it stings so much more not really caring about the metaverse.
Why don't you take those developers and make an iPad app with them? Anyway. Hey, thanks for watching this Waveform clip. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on this channel, not only so you don't miss clips, but so that also a drone will fly out the back of your computer and get a cool, sick POV shot of you hitting the subscribe button.
And if you don't hit the subscribe button, TikTok might take over with its new 10-minute stuff. And we really don't want to have to do like part 1 through 10 of the Waveform podcast on 10-minute TikTok.
Wouldn't want to have to do this in
vertical. You don't want to see me in vertical. I look terrible enough in landscape.
Yeah. So subscribe to keep this podcast horizontal.
Exactly.
That's actually way better. Keep this
The button's horizontal, keep it horizontal.
Perfect.